Donald Trump spoke to the Times of Israel, and he made some preposterous claims on Middle East peace. So they explain here, Trump said the December UN Security Council resolution condemning Israeli settlements would only serve to harden the Palestinians' ideological positions in future peace talks. Quote, the problem I have is that the UN resolution against Israel makes it a tougher deal for me to negotiate because the Palestinians are given so much. They're given so much. Even though it's not legally binding, it's psychologically binding, and it makes it tougher for me to negotiate. You understand that? Because people are giving away chips. They're giving away all these chips. What? That makes no sense. So, with Donald Trump, I don't know if you guys remember this, but during the primary, he actually caught a bunch of shit because he said a couple times when he was asked, what kind of a president are you going to be on the issue of Israel-Palestine? He said, look, I'm going to be neutral. I'm going to be neutral. We're going to make a deal. We're going to do a peace deal. It'll be tremendous. Believe me, I have to just tell you, it'll be a tremendous deal. I'm going to be a neutral person on that issue. So, of course, in the U.S., that's unacceptable. The establishment flipped out, and they said, you have to be biased in favor of Israel. Why would you say you'd be neutral? That's far too reasonable. So he was like, oh, neutral. Did I say neutral? Well, I will be the most pro-Israel president ever. It will be tremendous. Believe me, I love the Jews, and the Jews love Trump. Tremendous. Let me just tell you. So he did a total reversal where he's like, neutral. We got to be kind to the Palestinians. What are you guys talking about? Palestinians count too. They're people. Oh, I mean, did I say that? No, Israel's the only thing that matters, and I'm totally on the side of Israel. See, the thing is, Donald Trump doesn't know much about the world, so when you ask him, he'll revert to what seems like the most obvious answer. If you don't know anything about Israel-Palestine, what do you say? Yeah, I'll be neutral because I'll try to get a deal, right? We want a peace deal, so you got to be neutral, right? A neutral arbiter. So he assumed, like, who could disagree with neutral? Wrong. The entire establishment was like, you got to be biased in favor of Israel. So since then, he changed his tune completely, and he's now been super duper hawkish sounding on the issue of Israel. He's best friends with Netanyahu now. He's going to give him a free pass to do whatever the fuck he wants, which means more settlements, which means more occupation, more apartheid, more oppression of the Palestinians, more brazen land grabs that are massively illegal under international law. And he says things like this that make absolutely no sense. What does that mean, Don? He's, this is going to make it difficult to negotiate peace. The only reason it'll make it difficult to negotiate peace is not because the Palestinians are given so much, it's because the Israelis are given so much. All this UN resolution said is, hey, Israel, you have to follow international law like everybody else would have to follow international law. Stop stealing the land of the Palestinians. Stop with the illegal settlements. All it says is we are condemning illegal settlements. That's it. That's the entire resolution. It's toothless too. It's not like, and we're condemning it, and if you don't change it, we're going to invade you, or we're going to do sanctions, or we're going to support BDS. It's none of that. It's, please stop with your illegal settlements. Illegal settlements are illegal. That's the resolution. Trump's like, oh my God, this makes it so hard for me to negotiate peace. It makes it so hard to negotiate peace because the spectrum has shifted so far in the direction of Israel could do whatever the fuck it wants that it's controversial to say, hey, you should stop violating international law. So it's not that the Palestinians are given so much, it's that the Israelis are given so much, and now it's outrageous to say, hey, you should follow international law. No, you really want to get peace in the Middle East, it's very simple. You have to apply pressure to Israel because they're standing in the way of a peace deal, and you say, here's the bottom line. We're going to withhold U.S. support for you, so that $38 billion fucking dollars we just gave you, how about we don't give it to you? How about that? So we're not going to give you money for no goddamn reason when you have universal health care and we don't even have universal health care in this country, as if we can't use $38 billion here. So we're going to withhold that from you, and we're also going to lift our veto at the UN and actively support a Palestinian state. And if you don't fall in line with this, how about we also sanction your ass? How about that? How about we do exactly what was done to apartheid South Africa, and you put international economic pressure to the point where they're forced to fold and say, okay, you got us, let's do a deal. So that's what's going to happen. I would do that, and then I'd say, great, now that you're at the table, let's actually be reasonable. Let's do a two-state deal, 67 borders, share Jerusalem, call it a day. and both recognition for Palestine under the UN, under international law. You're obviously already recognized, which also shows that bullshit argument you use of they don't even want to recognize Israel is just nonsense because you already exist. You already exist. So the idea of like, oh, Palestinians don't want to recognize us. You already exist, dipshit. They don't. You are actively stopping them from existing, but you already exist. So what the fuck are you complaining about? So yes, you force them to the table, you get a deal, and Trump's saying the exact opposite. Palestinians are given too much if you include things they're given to be land grabs and occupation of their land and repeated bombings that massacre women and children and civilians and hitting their only power plant in Gaza and hitting their hospitals and schools and repeatedly cutting the grass and killing at least 80% civilians. They're given a lot of civilian deaths. So we should be envious of the Palestinians. They're given so much. I mean, come on. They're given nothing, Don. They're given nothing. And you have no clue what the fuck you're talking about, which is why you're not going to get a peace deal. And if you think you're going to get some sort of peace deal, the kind of peace deal it would be an utter, complete disaster. I can assure that, because it would be Israel gets to do whatever it wants. The Palestinians get the little bit of tiny crumbs. And then what would happen in that scenario? When the Palestinians reject it, everybody in the U.S. and Israel and the allies in the international community will turn around and go, oh, God, the Palestinians are being so unreasonable that they're not taking the little crumbs that we want to give them. No, the unreasonable thing would be the fact that you're trying to give them crumbs in the first place. Do a fair deal, and you can't do that when you brazenly and disgustingly misread the situation as you clearly have.